Hello, my name is Ana Sofia, and let's get started. Here's my flow sheet of today. And okay, so prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, athletes around the world were preparing for the Tokyo Olympics of 2020, and they were significant just for many reasons, but especially because it was the first time that trans athletes were going to be allowed to compete. It was the first year where inclusion was truly embraced in sport. Therefore, the opposition opposes the resolution of the government, and I'd like to reiterate that the resolution followed as such. This House will provide a solution that will foster competition and ultimate performance while considering the athletic challenges of transgender athletes. First, we'd like to point out that it actually violates one of the rules of resolution because it has and suggests that there are 2 points being claimed by the resolution instead of one, therefore diverting our attention and the whole point of a debate. Second, we'd like to continue to definitions. The opposition accepts all terms and definitions provided by the government. For criteria, the government stated that the criteria today was fairness, and I believe this is a little short-sighted. Even though fairness is truly important, especially in competition, I believe that we should also add inclusivity and human rights for all trans athletes. For instance, I like to point out for especially trans female athletes, if they are considered women in society, and they are, why are they not considered women in sport? I believe it would be unfair not to add this criteria. Now, I'm going to do a point-by-point refutation. I would like to start with significance. The government, if you remember, said that this issue lies within the testosterone level testing and that it does not ensure fairness for cisgender athletes competing against transgender athletes. And the opposition disagrees with this statement. We believe that the issue lies within the restrictions and unfair testing towards trans female athletes, and specifically it is a matter of human rights and equality. We'd like to reference the World Health Organization that they established that there are many generic variations on sex and its accompanying characteristics that impact athletic performance, including differences in naturally occurring testosterone and hormone levels. With so much natural variation, calling out trans athletes for exclusion without proof of advantage is unnecessary and truly discriminatory. We'd like to continue to our harms. The government is very concerned that cisgender women have an unfair disadvantage against trans women due to testosterone levels. And again, we disagree. We believe that by limiting trans athletes' ability to compete in the Olympics and removing them, and it is an attack towards their rights as athletes and identities as trans women. We believe that the IOC has already placed the necessary and, in some cases, very extreme measures to ensure fairness. We'd like to reference the IOC census that states that the athlete must demonstrate that her total testosterone level in the serum has been below 10 nanomoles per liter 12 months prior to competition. This means that they have been in testosterone suppression for months, maybe years prior to the year before they're being tested for the 10 nanomoles. We believe that this is plenty of implementation to ensure fairness in competition. We'd like to continue to our plan. The government's actual plan was to expand the Olympic categories, therefore creating a new division for trans athletes. This plan actually needs to be put aside because it does not do what the resolution states. This plan is not promoting fairness, nor is fostering competition. It is not promoting fairness because it is actually dividing and removing trans female and trans male athletes. And second of all, it's not fostering competition, adding on to that statement, because it is actually re-evaluating them and actually repurposing the athletic department and putting it into a different sector. And we do not believe that is okay. We'd like to continue to the benefits. I finally would like to refute these benefits. So the government pointed out that trans athletes will be recognized and compete accordingly without having to compromise their identity. And there's a problem with this because they're compromising their identity if they're put in a discriminatory or in a displaced category other than female or male, which they identify with. We would like to continue on to another benefit that the government pointed out, that there will be no such thing as testing for gender, which diminishes the importance of gender and identity of athletes. What we mean by testing for gender is that they test depending on your testosterone levels. They claim that you are a female or a male, and that is actually occurring right now. This benefit actually seems hypocritical since the plan itself aims to allocate trans female and trans males, in a different division, therefore undermining their gender as women and as males, especially trans female and trans male athletes. And we'd also like to point out that they cannot claim these benefits when they are clearly not advocating for transgender athletes whatsoever. And lastly, we'd like to continue to the voting issue. If the Prime Minister alters the resolution and takes the opposition grounds, then you must vote for the opposition. If this does not persuade you enough, I would like to actually offer you a counter plan. In addition to current IOC regulations, we'd like to implement a pre-physical evaluation. What we mean by this is that we will have physicians, we would have analysts, sports psychologists analyzing and testing all Olympic athletes that are going to compete in that specific year. And with that, they would test and compare their physical performance and their physical capabilities and truly compare data, scientific data, and utilize it to see whether there is a clear and disproportionate advantage between for example, trans females with cisgender females. And we would also like to implement that they actually compare this data with previous competitors from previous years and from both sexes, and compare trans male and females to both previous year's competitors and their physical capabilities. The funding will continue to be funded by the IOC as it is right now, as they have been providing for testing and for monitoring of the Olympics. We'd like to continue to the benefits of the plan. It would level the playing field between trans and cisgender athletes. It would promote inclusion. It will demonstrate unity within the Olympic competitors, and it is more cost-effective than creating a new Olympic category. I hope you like my counter plan and agree with my benefits, but if you vote for the government, I would like to show some problems in the government's plan. The plan undermines the rights as athletes, and it will create true division. Lastly, the new sector will have a greater financial cost, and it would also set a standard for sport governing powers and actually create a divide, because it will create uncertainty within sport itself. I hope the government side will address the issues that I presented today. Thank you so much.